As you know, an Echo of Glory tries to look for the positives in our wonderful football club, Tottenham Hotspur. So this week, it's all about not being Manchester United. Welcome to another episode of an Echo of Glory. I'm Jonny Blaine. Joining me, the tried and tested midfield. I've gone back to it. Jake Robson, hello.
Hello.
And Gary Diamond.
Afternoon.
Back from your Ollie Bobs.
Very nice time too. Thank you for asking.
Did I ask?
No, you didn't. But
How was your holiday?
It was very nice. Thank you for asking.
Good.
He's still on it.
It's on his holidays. If you are listening to us, Gary, at 25 past 12 on a Tuesday afternoon is having a pint of beer.
I'm not an alcoholic, but James in there has just got a new beer machine, which I have at home, but he had a lager in it that I haven't tested.
Yep.
So he poured me one, and it's very nice. It's the Jeremy Clarkson one. Very, very nice.
I think this asks more questions about what goes on in that office back there than actually what's going on out here.
Yeah. Okay, good to see.
Welcome back, Gary.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. How have you been?
So glad to have you back on British shores.
Very kind of you. I feel very loved. How are you?
Yeah, great.
Excellent.
I did a Jake Robson this morning. You need to guess what that is.
Well, I would. You always rinse me for being on holiday, but you're obviously not on holiday.
Not this morning.
Wore a cap.
I can't wear a cap.
I don't wear a cap.
No. Sliced myself shaving, although it has kind of covered itself up, but it was like a scene from The Exorcist at one point.
So you didn't listen to Jake 2's advice,
Which is don't shave.
don't shave on the big days,
Yeah.
because then
That's good advice.
Yeah. You'll notice that I've stopped shaving before the podcast.
Big day for you this day.
Yeah, well, I used to do it every, before every show, because I'm like, I want to look like I mean business.
We've been...
And when I cut myself, I was like, Jake said, I never do it. He said, when I go to weddings and stuff, never, because if you cut yourself, you're absolutely shafted.
James, can you clip this up? Because we've been looking for a sponsor, and if Gillette or whoever don't sponsor us after this, then they never will. It's a wonderful advert, although we're telling not to use it because we don't want to get cut.
No, do use it, just don't use it on the day of the podcast.
Okay. All right. Should we start with a bit of club news?
Yeah.
Start with the under 18s. Ready for it? Beat Arsenal.
Interesting game, that.
We're 1 up, 2-1 down.
Yeah, and then some funny refereeing decisions. I mean, yeah, some really funny refereeing
In
decisions.
their favour or
in
both?
their favour.
In their favour.
Very much in their favour.
Oh, that's a surprise.
They got some really odd decisions. But all the same, 1-0 up, 2-1 down, and then in the 88th minute, I think it was, or 87th minute, we equalised. And then in the 90th minute, we put them Gunners away.
He put them Gunners away.
There you go.
Yeah, okay, great. The 21s, Chris Cowling came out and said, they've not really won the league because they've changed the system. If you top of the league, you don't actually win the league. It goes in, we won the league. We've gone into the playoffs, of course we have, but we won the regular season, in my opinion, done. They played at home to Aston Villa yesterday, Monday.
Yesterday, yeah.
Ridiculous game. You said you saw some of it.
Yeah, I had it on the background between washing and unpacking and all that sort of stuff. So managed to watch a fair bit of it. It was a frustrating game because I felt we were the better team, much better on the ball. I mean, we finished first; they finished 16th, and there was a big gap between the teams. But it didn't look like it on the pitch. Beyond the fact that we were in control, we just carried on conceding stupid goals. But there was some real good talent out there. I was impressed with them, actually. Yeah.
So they won 4-3, extra time winner from...
So what you're saying is the future's bright.
Yeah, it's always hard to say, isn't it? Because you never quite know, who's going to come through and so on. But certainly, it was there was some really good talent. I really like the look of Tyrese Hall in midfield, although he ran out of legs, I felt, about the 70th minute. Dorrington and Casanova at the back.
Great name, Casanova.
Brilliant name.
Yeah.
Chimeriton at the back as well, right back, had a good game. And I've got to say, Lancashire up front.
Scored the winner, yeah.
He scored 2 goals.
2 goals, yeah.
The winner, he completely bullied his centre-back off the
Yeah.
ball. Like, I mean, the centre-back I thought was a bit weak, but he was clearly, he put him right under pressure.
He was not even third favourite to win that ball.
No, but he made it his own and stuck it in nicely. And I think it was his first goal, but I can't remember which goal that was in order. There's a ball in from the right back, Chimerian, I think it was, and he's brought it down. A lovely touch, held off his man, He's a proper number 9, that boy, Lancashire. Lineker Shearer.
Okay, so they will play Liverpool, who were 2-0 down to Crystal Palace and won 3-2 in the quarter-final. Not 100% sure when that game is, but...
Could be now.
It'd be harsh, having played yesterday. And the women were 2-0 down against Everton and came back to draw 2-2. They won a decent run, the women's side, as they go into the FA Cup final.
Big game next weekend.
Big game, yeah. Jessica Nars Drew Spence and Beth England scored for the women's team. I found a stat. I did a stat because I'm prepping it for the cup final. They're unbeaten in 7. So, going into the cup final in good form.
I didn't manage to get tickets.
The allocation is disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that they want
Go
to
on, explain.
12,000.
12,000. Oh, sorry. They only get 12. Tottenham only get 12,000.
I thought it was 11,000 actually.
But can I just say or ask, is that because the whole stadium won't be open?
Yeah, the whole of the top tier isn't open.
Right.
But
I don't know if that's true because when I was looking for tickets
No, it
for
must
myself
be,
before
because
I
think
was
about it,
potentially working,
'cause then there
are upper tier tickets. I think there are.
So they get 12,000 each. That's 24th. But not the whole of the up. But so you're still looking at what,
it's
50,000?
80,000, 85,000 seater stadium.
90.
Yeah, more.
Is it 90?
90, yeah.
There's going to be great swaths of that stadium not occupied, and it's like, well, why? Just why? Just open it all and see what you sell.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
No.
So do we know how full? How many seats are going to be?
The last cup final had 77,000.
So both women's.
Yeah, this won't be near
So
that.
both sides between them will get
I
25,000.
think United are getting more tickets.
Oh, they're getting more, are they?
Why?
I don't know.
I was
Is
really
that true?
upset
Is that
because
you?
It's an unconfirmed rumour that I
Right.
may have just made up.
on the day
I've heard it.
On the day the tickets were released, I was travelling, so I couldn't go on. So I was relying on somebody else to do it, and he said he just carried on getting booted out of the waiting list.
Yeah.
The queue on the online queue. Really disappointed.
I
because,
was sorry to interrupt.
Go on.
12,000 each. Go on.
12,000.
Yeah. So even so, right? So we're thinking, say Wembley. So you reckon there's about 70,000. That's 25,000. So that's still 40-odd thousand tickets.
Oh, 50.
50.
They
can't be 50,000 corporates though.
They'll be free. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe is there any chance they might release more for Tottenham and United?
It's speculation,
late,
isn't
actually,
it?
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Last
speculation.
season's
not.
final was played in front of 77,390. There will be a lot of giveaways. They'll give a lot to schools and to charities and to all this. So the capacity might end up being
Podcasts.
50k. Podcasts, yeah. Should have got. Anyway, sorry. You can't go.
Anyway, very disappointed, but there you go. It's what it is.
I'll be working on it. So I'll be under the bowels of Wembley.
If anybody has a couple of tickets that they want to get rid of for the Women's Cup final, let me know, because I'd love to take my daughter to that.
Still struggling to give away our book to the guy who won it, by the way. If he's listening, I don't know. Message in the comments again, because we're still trying to, or email us again at the Launchpod Studios email, which you'll find on the website.
Who was it?
Can't remember.
Oh,
Sippo, and then some numbers.
right.
Struggling to get an email address sorted.
Right. Sippo, get in touch.
Get in touch, mate.
Get your book.
All right. Guess
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
We're done. Finished.
Right, see you next week.
I don't really want to talk about anything else. Should we talk about not being Man United? At least we're not Man United.
At least we're not Man United.
How rubbish are they? But do you remember when
They're just like us last season. It's like us last season, isn't it?
Do you remember when James Holland came on and he said, other than Ange, the best manager he'd played under was Oliver Glasner? Done really well.
He's done really well. I mean, I can't. It doesn't sit very comfortably with me though that how little time before he came in, how little time Palace had Elise and Eze both fit on the pitch, and I think that
Gahey, did he come back last night?
maybe, but those two have been the ones, and I think that probably did for Roy Hodgson in the end because they were okay.
Yeah, but I think Roy Hodgson did for Roy Hodgson.
Perhaps, but I think they would have been a much better side. And actually, so had they not been as injured this season, we may not have
But
seen.
you don't lose 4-0 at Palace, with respect.
But something that Palace
do
have
if you
done
play
very,
like that.
but something Palace have done very, very well to their credit is recruit from the Championship. Like Wharton, Elise, Eze, all these players they bought from Championship sides, and they've done that very, very successfully. And I think sometimes people scoff at it, like, oh, it's a cheap option or whatever it might be. But actually, I
It's
think
lazy when people say that because there are good players.
very good players. The standard of the Championship's really high, and you see somebody like Wharton who, he could be a surprise call up for the Euro squad. He really could be.
Gareth ain't taking him. No chance. Quite possibly should.
Gareth Barry's got more chance.
Yeah, right. He should take Sancho because he's on absolute flames, but he won't.
No. But look, the point is you recruit well from the Championship team with Dele Alli and so on. Like it's not to be sniffed at. And Scott at Bournemouth, another one, Alex Scott. It's not to be sniffed at, and there's a lot of very good talent down there. And if you can find the best young English talent, it is a great route forwards for you as a club, and that's what Palace have done exceptionally well.
Yeah,
I said it last week. Elise and Eze. I
As
want to see one of them at Tottenham next season. Is that unrealistic?
As for United, I've got a good friend who's a United fan, and I was speaking to him about my issue with United has been that I don't understand what Ten Hag is trying to do. I don't get every time I see them play. I don't understand what the end game is. What's he trying? And you can have all your criticisms of Ange, and there are many to be had around at the moment. I know, and we'll get onto that, I'm sure. But at least we can see what he's trying to do. We know what his game plan is. We know what he's striving to achieve.
Yeah, he's just sending them out 4-2-3-1 and going play football.
Well, I don't get. There's nothing there, and I've asked my mate, and he said the difference with United is there's such a pressure to win every game now that managers feel that they've just got to put out whatever way they can to win.
Just buy better.
He said whereas Spurs have the time to build and try and develop something. I kind of disagree with that because I think you should always be trying to implement a philosophy.
Yeah, don't go and buy Casemiro, Varane, Anthony just because they're big names.
Well, Anthony wasn't. I mean, that was just a shocking buy from Ten Hag because he played for him at Ajax. And he must have realised he's not good enough for the Premier League. He must know that.
He can't have known that.
He played for him at Ajax and done a good job.
Yeah, and he's gone. And they spent 90 million. You can't tell me the guy knew that he wouldn't be good. As in, that's mad, isn't it?
I could have. Honestly, God, I saw Anthony play.
He may have not realised and been proven wrong. But he kind of looked at him and gone, "I know what we need. We need this guy for 90 million, who I know is not good enough."
No, I realise that, but that's a criticism of Ten Hag. Then.
Well,
How good is his talent spotting ability? How much can you trust a guy who has managed somebody for 12 to 18 months, or however long he managed him? Okay, he did a great job for him at Ajax, but you have to know as a coach the difference in level, the difference in standard, right? And that's the point I'm trying to make. No, I don't think he deliberately bought him going, "Oh, this guy's rubbish, let's spunk 90 million on him," right? He hasn't done that. But he has got, and I really trust this guy. Well, hang on, you've got to ask questions of Ten Hag there.
Yeah. Maybe it's like when you play Championship Manager and you take over two teams and you give a load of money to one. You just give a load of money to one.
I used to do that. I used to take over Arsenal and Tottenham and get Arsenal relegated. So it was a question of how long I could survive until I got sacked from Arsenal. But long enough so that it would just destroy them for the rest of the game.
Nice. Yeah. Right, enough Man United. Gary, you've been away for a few weeks. So you missed out.
Jonny, didn't you go away as well?
Yeah, I went to the New Forest, mate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How was it?
Nice, thanks.
Lovely.
Not as far flung as Gary's trip.
Or as hot.
It was a nice Saturday.
Yeah, very nice.
But Gary, you missed out on a couple of games for us to dissect. Don't need to go massively into it, but Arsenal, then Chelsea. Come on.
And Liverpool.
Well, we're going to do Liverpool in a bit more.
Surely you didn't watch the Chelsea game. You'd have been asleep, wouldn't you?
The Chelsea game was on at 10:30 at night in Dubai. I wish I had been asleep.
Oh, yeah.
And that game's the game that I was genuinely disappointed with because I just thought it was on the night two poor teams. I thought Chelsea were equally as bad as us. I really did. And there was just nothing to that game. And I'll come to the Arsenal game and then eventually the Liverpool game. I wasn't disappointed with the Arsenal game overall. I know you're going to take issue with that.
No, I'm not actually. I think we know what the problems were, defending set pieces and a soft goal. No, we did okay.
The Chelsea game was really disappointing.
Yeah.
They just didn't. Neither team turned up. We were undone again by two set pieces, and it was two set pieces because Palmer's has come off the bar and we just didn't react. We didn't react, and Jackson did. There was nothing to that game. I don't really want to. I was bored to tears watching it. It was absolute crap from both teams. I mean that from both teams, and that was a big disappointment. The Arsenal game, on the other hand, is a difficult one because I thought I'm probably going to get pelted. I thought we were the better team. I really thought we were the better team, and I thought that watching it. I felt that watching it. And yet you're 3-0 down, and you're thinking, mate, well, how can we be the better team? But then actually you look at all the stats after the game, and it bears out that we were the better team. And this isn't a case of Arsenal sat back because they were 3-0 up. Even before we
they sat back the whole game.
And then Arteta says we weren't allowed to play the game we wanted. Spurs' press was so aggressive, we couldn't play our game, right? And it's a really unfortunate thing that actually I think the same thing happened against Liverpool. You're let down by inefficiencies in squad depth. So against Arsenal, Højbjerg started. And I don't want to make this about Højbjerg, and I don't really want to make Liverpool about Royale, except that Højbjerg for me was directly at fault for 2 goals against Arsenal, and Royale was directly at fault for 3 goals against Liverpool, in my view. Okay? It's yes or no. Højbjerg is goal side of Tomiyasu, not goal side, the wrong side. Tomiyasu is goal side of Højbjerg for the own goal. How does that happen? The ball from the corner has come straight through. It's taken no deflection, no nick, no nothing. It's a clean ball straight through. And Højbjerg would have been better off letting Tomiyasu head it. I don't think Tomiyasu scores. You might get a flick. Okay, fine. You deal with it from there.
Or not.
But to jump across your man, going back towards your own goal, it was just... what are you doing? You're in the wrong position, and then you've made the wrong choice. And then the second goal is, for me, people are having a go at Ben Davies on Saka. Yeah, Ben Davies should have been better. Højbjerg screws up the whole team for that second goal. And we haven't got it. They break out, the ball comes to Saka. Højbjerg's in the right-hand channel, and he's blocking off the passing channel to Havertz. Okay? There's no way that he can get to Saka. There's absolutely no way. So if he stays on Havertz, what happens is Saka has 2 options. He can either go left to Tomiyasu, who's got Bentancur and I think Johnson maybe, or Kulusevski, tracking him. Okay, so number 1, it's a tough enough ball anyway. Number 2, I think the guys probably get back and challenge Tomiyasu. The only other option Saka's got is to turn out and come out to the right-hand side of the pitch.
And take on Ben Davies.
Ben Davies and Van de Ven.
Okay.
You look at it again, he's got Ben Davies and Van de Ven. Højbjerg has to say, go on, Bukayo, you take on them 2, right? What he does is he comes off Havertz, he makes Saka's options so easy to pop it round him. He doesn't impact or influence the game at all. He doesn't get to Saka, he doesn't make the foul, doesn't win the ball, gets nowhere close to it, takes himself completely out of the game. He gives Romero a problem because Romero's now gone, oh God, do I step up onto Havertz? What do I do here? Like, he creates a massive problem. And I get the impulse for a number 6 is to try and go and win the ball. I understand that. But a true number 6 in this system has to understand that actually if you can't impact the ball, and he couldn't, you have to stick on your man and keep the team shape. And I can't
remember what happened after that when Saka went round him.
No, Saka didn't go round him. So he comes to Saka. Saka pops it round him to Havertz. Romero's then like sort of half goes to Havertz, half doesn't. And then they break out and it ends up back at Saka because the whole team pushes across. Van de Ven pushes across. Højbjerg is left back on the halfway line. Whereas if he just goes with Havertz...
Most of our left backs are normally on the halfway line, yes.
No, Højbjerg was left on the halfway line, not
right.
Davies. But if he goes...
left back in the
It was a play on words.
If he goes with Havertz, Saka hasn't got that option. He's only got 2 options but he makes it so easy and he pulls the whole team out of shape. It was really...
right, so Højbjerg had a bad game. We didn't deserve to lose. I don't think we deserved to lose to Arsenal. Arsenal fans will tell you it was their worst performance of the season. And
I think we made it their worst performance of the season.
I was about to say, as you say, Arteta praised us, which is easy to do when you've
and this is why there's a lot of criticism of Ange at the minute. But when you see what Ange is trying to do, and when you see how effectively they played against one of the 2 best teams in the league, that is what Ange is trying to do. And it was just inefficiencies and quality in the squad that gives me confidence that if we get the right players, better quality of players, this can and will work.
All right, so he changed it up on Sunday. Yay. He went to a 4-3-3.
I thought of you when the team sheet came out.
Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven and Emerson Royale. Don't play him there. Anyway, I'll come back to that in a minute. Basuma, Sarr, Bentancur, Kulu, Son, Johnson.
Plan B.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
So what could he have done? In Maddison. Yeah, so other options. Okay, so he's changed it up for the first time.
Yeah, but it's plan B in the sense of he hasn't got that out-and-out creative force in the team. He's got 3 more traditional central midfielders.
Yeah, the one player he's completely overlooked in this entire period is Lo Celso. Everyone else has had a go, and this bloke has not been allowed to.
And Skip.
Okay.
Well, no,
Skip's now a left back, isn't he? Came on.
Did better than Royale.
Yeah, well,
he
you'd
did.
have done
he
better
did,
than
he did,
Royale.
yeah.
Again, the problem with Royale is he's a good right back, and
actually,
that's where it ends.
There were a couple of he did some bad stuff
because he's not an inverted left back.
Because he's not.
So don't
but
play
there was a
him
couple
there.
of instances
No,
where
hang on.
somebody.
Jake's talking.
No, I think it was Salah. Maybe was it Salah? Did I write this down? No, maybe not. He had a couple of times when he was 1-on-1 defending, and he actually managed to survive the situation when it was just like a situation where he's 1-on-1.
Because he's not bad at
Because
that.
he's actually that is. But as I said on Friday, I mean, you say what you want about his deficiencies, his shortcomings. I feel bad for the guy to be put not only at left back but as an inverted left back. He didn't know where to be most of the time.
No, I'm sorry. None of the goals that
And
we
the other
conceded that
thing
were
you're
his
saying,
fault.
the other thing you're saying about, I agree with you about squad depth, but he's also now our 3rd choice left back because the first 2 are injured. How many are you supposed to have?
Right. Okay. I understand.
Like,
that.
even
but
if we
Davies
sign-
also,
even
Ben
if
Davies
he-
also isn't good enough. Okay.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah,
issue
yeah.
that I've got with what you're saying is you're all completely right. Okay. He's not good enough as an inverted left back. It's a bit unfair on him. If our attacking threat was nullified because he's not good as an inverted left back and the inversion is to do with the attacking force, I could accept that. But the goals that we conceded are nothing to do with him being an inverted left back. They're to do with, as a fullback, doing a fullback's job. He just didn't do it.
But he's
He
not doing a
tried-
fullback's job. That's the problem. If he
No,
was,
no, no.
my
hang on.
argument is if he
at where the
was
goals
doing
came
a
from.
fullback's
Hang
job.
on. The cross into the box for Salah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He steps up for some reason. He's trying to play offside, which is just brain dead because when you're that deep in the box,
Yeah, that was bad.
You can't play offside. You've got to just go and impact the ball.
Yeah.
And if he even doesn't win it, but jumps in front of Salah, Salah doesn't score that header, right? But he lets Salah drift in behind him because he stepped up. Just poor fullback play.
Which goal was that? The third?
The first goal.
The first?
The very first goal.
I thought Vicario probably should have done
Yeah,
a
he
bit better.
could have
with
done
that.
better, but you know, it's just poor fullback plays. Left Salah completely. The other goal, the second one or the third one, there's a third goal on the day, I think it was. He's brought the ball down. He's done all right. He's facing goal, and he's done what Basuma tried to do at City, and he tries to turn out, and Harvey Elliott mugs him. Right?
Yeah.
You've done the hard part. Just play it back to Vicario or whack it out for a throw-in.
We don't do whacking it out for a throw.
Whatever, play it back to Vicario. What you don't do,
Random ended. at
what
one
you
point.
don't do is blindly turn, right? You don't blindly turn, not knowing what's behind you. He had Salah up him here, and Harvey Elliott just came right through, knowing he was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, I agree with you,
poor.
but what's
And he
the
lost the ball-
alternative?
he lost
and
the
we
ball
looked
and they
better
scored.
when Skip came on.
And the third goal, literally, he's done a powder puff header, like at the far post. He gets the tiniest of flicks on it. Just put it behind for the corner. Just deal with the danger as a fullback. Get it out. If in doubt, get it out. 3 goals, his fault. None of which were the result of him being an inverted fullback. All of which were the result of him just being a crap footballer.
There's an argument to say you're only as good as you're only as good as your weakest player.
Yeah.
Oh, mate,
There you go.
But at the same time, we've let in 13 goals in 4 games.
Yeah,
13 goals in
leaking
4 games. 2 clean sheets in 26. Worst run of form for 20 years. Okay, 4 good. The chance of you playing Newcastle away, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool in 4, it's tough. But the fact is still there. 1 away win in 9, 2 wins in 8. Second half scraps against Luton and Forest. We've had some lovely, friendly beefs on WhatsApps this week. You're still seeing positives. Our away form since Christmas is 16th or something. I can't remember what I put up. 14th, 6 points since Christmas away from home. I think I said this on Friday, you may not have picked up because you were still away. I think the sign of a team struggling is A, set piece problems, B, away form, because you can hide form with home wins. Brighton, Palace, Forest, Luton. At the moment,
Hopefully Burnley.
At the moment, the positives are it's not Conte and Mourinho for me, from weight, and there's also obviously an intent to play attacking football, which we all want. Been saying it since December. You've got to shut the back door. And just come in and sort of work from the front backwards, and I think it should be the other way around.
Well, what difference if you get to where you want to get to in the end? Either way,
I think
we'll sit. I don't know. Like
if you could bring in the best number 6 in the world, if you're still asking your defenders to defend like we're defending, this Premier League you'll still concede these goals.
yeah. But as in, if because as I've said before, when Poch came, he sort of went defence first, and in the end, whatever you call the end, 16, 17, 17, 18, we were just a really good team.
Built on a great foundation of back of the defense.
Well, yeah, but maybe we could be a really good team built on a foundation of really good attacking play. You know what I mean?
I don't. You've got to have both. But Gary,
Yeah, we will have. But I'm saying, but he might just that might come second.
Okay, it might do. It might well do.
But then the other argument to that is we haven't scored loads of goals. We haven't scored as many goals as you think we have over the course of the season.
Just before I get Gary's right to reply, yeah, it's great. We came back against Liverpool. Liverpool were probably given up by that point. 2 decent-ish goals, whatever. And the Arsenal goals were gifts. Since Forest, we scored 4 goals in 4 games. 2 of them were complete gifts in the Arsenal game. I've just struggled to see the positive games.
I said it last week. I think the AFCON Asia Cup returnees, I think, has been an issue for us. It may have been an issue for loads of teams. I mean, Salah, we said, hasn't been that great. I don't think that's helped us with Son. Definitely hasn't helped us with Bissouma, who's been ill. Sarr hasn't been the player that he was earlier.
We keep changing the midfield. I just want to know what Gary's positives are.
Well, no, the other thing, lastly, I think that, and I think Richarlison being injured, I think we just look so much better when he comes on. I think the shape and the way we attack,
without doubt,
but he hasn't been fit.
Okay.
And I think we press a lot better when he plays as well. The press from the front as soon as he came on. And I think we scored a couple of goals. Did we score 1 or 2 after he come on?
2.
I think we scored 2.
Go on then. What are the positives that you see?
I think what Ange is trying to install with better players and more squad depth, I think we will see much better results. And you can see the patterns of the play. You can see what he wants to try to do. I think you talk about him sort of starting from the front. You wish he started from the back. The whole concept of Ange ball is that you defend from the front. Okay, the best form of defence is attack. All right, that is what he's trying to do. Now, you can say that leaves us open at the back and it leaves us susceptible. But again, every time that a team breaks on us, every time there's a transition, it comes from a direct mistake of our own.
Because teams are waiting for that to happen because it will happen.
But it's also quality of player.
Okay, so I want to pick you up on that. We talked about painful rebuild and the Poch team is finally being broken up.
Yeah.
It's gone.
It's gone. Right, we've championed these players. Vicario, we all like. Forget Emerson, he's useless. Van der Ven, Romero, Porro, Bentancur, Sarr, Bissouma, Johnson, jury's still out a bit. Son, Kulusevski. Players that come in, done well at times, we've gone, great, finally, the first team, Maddison. Are we suddenly saying these players aren't it? Of those players, which ones are we getting rid of? Other than Emerson?
Well, I don't think it's a question of getting rid of
with better players.
Of those players.
So obviously, you can improve. Yeah. So some of those players we've championed, right? They got to go. They got to go sit on the bench.
Well, I think I love Bissouma. I love Bissouma when Bissouma is playing as Bissouma should play. I think since AFCON, as Jake said, or since Luton really, he hasn't found that form again. He's clearly not a 6, very clearly not a 6.
But we weren't saying that in the beginning of the season.
Well, this is it. We were championing these players.
We were. And me more than anybody was championing Bissouma. But the reality is his form hasn't been there. And it's why against Arsenal, I think Højbjerg started, right? The short is, I don't think we have an out-and-out 6. An out-and-out proper 6.
We don't. We know that.
But does Ange want a... What do you call
so
a
it's
proper
not
6?
About... So hang on. It's not about which players you're getting rid of. It is about... your question was quite loaded. Well, okay, you all said these players are great. They are good players. But are they the right players in this system is the actual question, okay? And as we're seeing it more, it's clear that Bissouma may not be the right player in this system. If you took Bissouma out and brought in Rodri, and Rodri is a world-class player, and I know you're going to go, there aren't many of those about. Get that. But that is a proper 6, okay? And with Rodri in the team, I don't think teams break on us half as much as they do. I think we're a far
100%.
Right? So, and number 9, when you spend the whole season arguing about is Richarlison better on the left or as the number 9, or is Son better as
You've got a problem.
You've got a problem because they're not one or the other. And even Son right now, by the way, is not one or the other. He's not left wing and is not a number 9. So, there are deficiencies in the team that can be picked up on. Maddison has fallen off a cliff. I think he looks injured. There are rumours that he's come back injured and they can't quite get his foot right or whatever it is. He looks like that. So there are deficiencies throughout the team and throughout the squad. It's not about, do you replace Maddison? Do you replace Bissouma? It is about finding the right players for the way that Ange wants to play. And I think in the summer, we have to go out and find a big number 9 who can press, who can play with his back to goal. I don't even think he needs to be the best finisher in the world. He just needs to be a good, physical, energetic, hard-running, technical number 9. And people will laugh at...
That's the 9 that we have.
We don't. We don't.
He's physical. He's good with his back to goal. He's not the best finisher.
No. Sorry, Jake. No,
I don't think he is.
No,
the ball bounces off him far too much.
Yeah. But I think our money is going to be better. Well, maybe. Who's out there? I mean, where do you find someone like that?
Tony, Solanke.
That's not. That isn't our issue. I think
Tony.
Ivan,
Everybody.
I think Ivan Tony in this team would be an absolute phenomenon.
Absolutely.
Like we put to one side questionable character, personality, or whatever it may be. Tony as a footballer is exactly what you want in this team, right? I think he would transform the team. And number 6, again, you say, well, who's out there? I don't know. That's not my job to know. I don't scout the world. I don't scout these players. I don't know. But I think, you get in a proper number 6 and it would be transformational. I think, you get in a left centre-back to cover, not replace Van de Ven, but a proper left centre-back to cover Van de Ven. And you've got more options when Udogie is out or whatever it may be. I don't necessarily, people are saying we need a left-back. I think you buy a left centre-back and then you can move Van de Ven out there or whatever it might be.
I don't think Van de Ven will be good enough out there.
Whatever, just options. But there are problems throughout the squad. We are in the middle of the rebuild. You ask me what the positives are. The positives are, I personally can see what Ange is trying to do and what he wants to achieve. I believe that will he get there? Depends what you mean by will he get there. I think next season we will finish comfortably in the top 4. I think we will have top 4 wrapped up within 4 or 5 games of the end of the season.
I think we'll have it wrapped up after 10 games.
We'll have to start keeping some clean sheets. And
but it's evolution. It's evolution and it's progression. And I know you hate to hear, Klopp and Arteta, and it's not anybody saying that if we keep Postecoglou, it's we're guaranteed success in the way that Arteta, if you can call that success at this point, or Klopp have achieved it. It is to say that the longer a manager stays, the more chance they have to put in their ideas. You look at, there's a debate at the moment. I mean, I'm almost laughing. I'm listening to the radio on the way in, and David Moyes is being heralded as the best West Ham manager of all time, okay, because he won a poxy third-grade European trophy. But it's been there for 4 years, okay? And again, there's proof in the pudding. You give a manager time and backing, and I think they get there. And the positive, I think, to Ange is if we go back to the summer and we talk about what did we want from our next manager, it was a DNA, a philosophy, a way of playing. Get us out of the turgid last 4, I'd say 5 years, because Poch's last season, Champions League run aside, was a disaster. Okay, 5 years of utterly crap football, and he is implementing that DNA. And I think if he fails, we will come away with a team and a squad that is passing the ball around, playing in the right way, playing in the Tottenham way. And I think as well, any player that we bring in will be a good technical footballer that any other manager could come in and take forwards as well. So we're building very solid foundations. But as to Ange, I can see the foundations of the way he is wanting to play, the way he is building his team, and I think it will get there.
Yeah, Jonny, you're Ange out. Anyway, we know that, aren't you?
I'm not Ange out. You said
every
to me
week
actually,
you're Ange out.
You
Don't mention you want everyone out.
You'll have that Tottenham away.
Burn it down, build it up again.
You'll have that Tottenham away and I mentioned. He's probably got some satellite radar that every time someone mentions Enoch, he jumps on their podcast. Get off, we don't want you in here. No, I'm not Ange out. You said to me, because you said to me on WhatsApp this week, Gary, that because I don't really like what I'm seeing and
You're miserable.
I'm miserable and I just don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. We've lost 4 in a row. I mean,
downbeat.
What's the positive?
Shall I carry on?
No.
4 in a row is bad.
Yeah, you're just clinging onto this, dying on this hill. But
I'm not.
Yeah, because it worked against Ross County in his second season. He won the treble in Scotland. Apart from all of that, you said to me he might as well go because you don't think it's going to work. It depends what work is.
What is work?
Well, this guy, you hire a new manager. You like when you're Tottenham Hotspur, and we have designs on pushing for a title, which we've done a couple of times.
So to be clear, this is what I said to you, right? I said, if you don't believe it's going to work,
You might as well go now.
he may as well, as far as you're concerned, he may as well go. So that doesn't necessarily mean to say that you're Ange out. But my point to you is, if you don't believe that ultimately, that's what I'm hearing as well. If you don't believe that ultimately it's going to work, why not get rid of him now?
I don't think it will. Okay, when I'm saying I don't think it's going to work, I don't think we're going to challenge for the title like he says we're going to. I think we'll float around between 4th and 6th and 7th, which for me is like where Spurs just are anyway.
Just out of interest,
for that reason,
just while we're here,
you might as well stay.
So, do you think if we brought in Thomas Tuchel, we'd challenge for the title?
Tommy Tukes.
Tommy Tickler. Am I allowed to say that?
Is that? I don't know. Is that what?
No,
they,
it's not based.
is that what they call
It's
him?
a good name. It's a good name.
Lawsuit incoming. Jones, give me another beer.
No. You know, I'm just thinking of I'm
It's
thinking off
also
the top of my head. Okay, Pep, Klopp. I don't know.
What do you want?
Ancelotti.
What do you want?
Who's out there that we could have brought in anyway?
And that's
that
the question.
That would take this Tottenham team to challenge for the title
in the first season without having
no,
a
but
project.
not even that. No, not even that. Because Johnny's saying potentially long term. He does, but long term, are we going to be? Do we have?
Fair, yeah.
Just putting it down to bare facts. Do we even have the financial clout to challenge for the title? Because that is ultimately, it is an arms race at the end of the day. You cannot finish. You will not win the league, I don't think, unless you spend or have access to.
Or you're Leicester and everybody wants you to win the league.
Or, but that wouldn't happen now. City and, look how much Arsenal have spent. I think that would be another. Now, talk about joking about people out. If you're not going to spend or can't spend X amount of money, you're probably not going to. I think that's the bare fact of it.
The answer to your original question was sort of how does it work? Yeah, good recruitment, spending money. Asking me, do I want Tuchel? I don't think he's a great manager. He's won Champions Leagues. The other thing, I'm not sure that Ange's journey is amazing. We've talked about Ange's journey. It's a great story, but he's come from Japan and Celtic, and all this stuff worked against St Mirren and Gamba Osaka. I said this all along. It's the Premier League. It will chew you up and it will spit you out.
But it hasn't spat him out.
I think it's starting
us
to.
finishing 5th isn't being spat out.
I don't know, but I think we had a brilliant start.
But the question is, what does success look like to you? I mean, so if success to you,
top 4,
right? But
You didn't have us down as 4th at the beginning of the season.
You said it's not going to work, so you don't believe. So you say success is top 4.
Hang on, let me finish.
Okay.
Not getting knocked out of every cup in the first round, probably winning a trophy. He's come in and said
this season.
No.
Oh, right.
In the first 3 years, I think we should.
We can
finish
And
in
you
the
don't
top
believe
4.
that will happen?
I'm not convinced we'll finish in the top 4 next season, though. Based on what I've seen.
Look, I think this: if we don't finish in the top 4 next season, and we're still as far off as we are at the moment, then I'll stand by you and say maybe it's not going to work.
My caveat is based on what I've seen.
Also,
he could change it.
Can I just also say that I don't think we're guaranteed top. I'm not as convinced as Gary that we're going to finish 4th next season, but we don't have a right to finish 4th next season. If Chelsea,
sorry, Jake, I'm not with you on that.
If Chelsea, there are 6 very good teams at least in the Premier League. Why should we definitely finish 4th next season, particularly as we're playing in Europe?
I'm not saying that we're entitled to. You have to earn it, right?
No,
United are rubbish at the minute. Newcastle,
you're saying
Chelsea, Villa are much better. I hear your point.
You're saying you're convinced we'll finish top 4 next season. I don't see how you can be convinced that we'll finish top 4
Absolutely convinced of it.
Based on what?
Based on that, I think we will sign well over the summer.
But
I think the squad will continue to rebuild, and I think we're not that far off it at the moment.
And
I think United have got a mountain to climb. I think we will be better than Newcastle, who are in a position where they will have to sell either one of Guimaraes or
I'm not even sure they will,
or the boy up front.
Never.
Either
happens.
way, if they don't, I don't think they can recruit heavily. I think financially, and this is where the big point comes. I think financially we are in a position now to push on in a way that. And I will say Chelsea, I know people will mock me, but Chelsea cannot, the way things are going, whichever way you split PSR or the other methods, Chelsea are really struggling to spend. United have got an absolute mountain to climb. They'll always have the money to be able to do it, but throwing money at something doesn't turn it around overnight. It still takes time. I think they're so far off. I think Chelsea could be a threat in the sense of, Poch is getting it right now, but I just, they're going to lose a Gallagher or something.
Yeah, but they've still got Nkunku to come back. They've got some good players.
And I think, I just fear where we are at the moment as one of the most financially powerful clubs in the Premier League, there is no excuse for us in Ange's second season to not be finishing top 4. I also see more than enough.
That's a different point.
I also see more than enough of the way that we're playing and what Ange is building that we should finish top 4.
I really struggle with this. This is why I keep. We can see 2 goals minimum every flipping game.
At the moment. At the moment.
He's going to have to turn that tap off. There's how many games left? 3 games left.
Gary, I agree with you to an extent. I agree with you. Well, I agree with everything you're saying. I think that the foundations are there, which means we will have a good chance. But that doesn't. But you're not taking into account. Well, you're slightly taking into account the other teams.
But I'm also like a little bit. I'm a bit dismayed. Go on. Sorry. Go on.
No, I was just there wasn't much else to say apart from it is a bit of a lot. Looking at the table now. So you basically you're saying if you say Arsenal City, you think it'll be Arsenal, City, Liverpool top 3 in some order. And
I think Liverpool fall off a cliff.
Right,
they could do, yeah.
I think Liverpool fall off a cliff.
I don't think we know until who comes in, who they sign, if they keep Salah. I think at this point there's a lot of.
But there are so many variables. But we at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
It's going to be a good pre-season preview pod.
We at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, in the status that we're in, with one of the best stadiums in the world, one of the best training complexes in the world, with the money and financial clout that we have behind us, should not be saying 4th to 6th is where we're at. For this season, fine. It's been a rebuild. We've lost Harry Kane. It's been a huge change of philosophy and from the style of football we played for 5 years. This season, 5th is very good. It's very good in my view, okay?
I agree with that.
But to turn around and say that, should we be finishing top 4? Yes, we bloody should. And we should be challenging for the title. And that ought to be our aspirations. And that's not arrogance. It's not an entitlement. That is the position of this club and what they have been building. That is where we should be pushing to. And
you think in year 2?
No, I don't think in year 2. I think in year 2 we'll finish top 4.
And then
I think in year 3 we should be pushing towards the title.
I think that's the plan. That should be the plan.
Right, and I think in year 4, if we're not winning it, we should be where Arsenal are at the minute, which is damn bloody close.
I think it's the plan. I don't think we get there. And I really hope I'm wrong. And when we're at the trophy parade, you can all point and laugh at me. And I wear a T-shirt saying, I thought he'd be gone by November 2024.
But that's not the point. It's not a question of who's right and who's wrong.
I know that.
The question is...
Will you run down the high road in nothing but your...
Ange pants.
Your birthday suit.
Where they are.
but the question is not it's not about pointing and saying you're wrong. The question is, if you don't believe it's going to happen... then what's the point of Ange for you right now?
Yeah, all right. Ange out. But I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that.
But you know what you say now?
But why don't you believe that? But why don't you believe that? Like, why don't you believe that?
Because I don't think you can... I don't think he knows how to sort out the defence.
But so then what is the point?
Because whatever, I'll just support Tottenham and it'll be like, great, we'll finish
Rubbish.
like 4th.
Also, are you basing the fact that you don't think he knows how to sort out
I also don't think there's managers out. I don't know of another manager out there. There's no point sacking him and starting it again.
He doesn't know how to sort out the defence. Are you basing that on numbers you've seen from his previous jobs? I haven't looked at them. I don't know.
I don't care what he did. I don't care what he did.
Interesting.
So what are you basing it on?
Regard.
You're basing it on half a season.
Interestingly, Mr. Statsman.
But that's not...
And 2 cleats in 25 is not half a season.
Hang on. Interestingly, Mr.
Quarters of a season.
Because I think this is interesting. I don't know, like it's just it's an anomaly, or I don't know what it is. I think West Ham have conceded the most number of goals they've ever conceded in the Premier League this season.
Right.
Moyes has answered Declan Rice. Okay, fine. Manchester United, I think, have conceded this season more goals than they've ever conceded in a Premier League season. Yeah. Aston Villa haven't conceded that many goals less than us.
No, they haven't.
Right. Mm-hmm. There does seem to be a lot of teams conceding a lot of goals.
It's been a while. The clean sheets have become less and less of a thing.
So
we're not conceding 1, we're conceding 2, 3,
I understand that. I understand that. But the point is, throughout the league, it's not 1-0 to the Arsenal anymore. That's not the way you're going to win things these days, I think, right? So there does seem to be a shift in paradigm of how teams are going about playing, and there are more goals being conceded.
But the best teams still have the best defence.
Yeah, of course. No, of course.
City haven't had. Arsenal have been the standout best defensive team in the league. City have been far more... They haven't been the defensive...
Still got the second best defence in the league.
In terms of goals conceded.
And Liverpool have got the third best.
But are we talking goals conceded or are we talking clean sheets?
Goals conceded.
Well, yeah, okay, fine. But they haven't kept that many clean sheets.
Villa 53 goals conceded, that's 58. Newcastle 56, Chelsea 59, United 55. West Ham 70. I mean, down there, I think Sheffield
Everton.
United.
Sorry, I lied. No, I didn't. Fourth. Everton conceded 49 goals.
Great, let's hire Sean Dyche.
No.
Right, but exactly. So this is the point.
Yeah, they've scored 38.
You look at the goals against. I wonder if you top that up goals against. I wonder if you're seeing more goals.
It's
against
the most goals scored. Oh, it's the most goals scored in a 20-team Premier League season.
Right.
And getting close to any season.
I'm not using that as an excuse for Post.
Yeah, but that's partly because Sheffield United have shipped 100 goals. So.
But Sheffield United will say, but hang on, United have shipped 60-odd goals, Spurs have shipped 68-odd goals, whatever it is, right? The point 58. Is more goals are being scored.
Correct.
A lot more goals are being scored, okay? That's not a defensive Postecoglou. You're correct. We need to shore up. However, we do also need to look at the way that football is moving. And ultimately, maybe we just need to bloody score more goals.
Well, yeah.
Well, that is also true because our 69. I mean, Newcastle scored 78.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they scored 13 against 14 against Sheffield United.
Yeah,
but we beat in the last minute. Anyway, yeah, Ange and Ange out, whatever. We'll still be here. Whoever the manager is.
That's where the problem is. We've scored the fewest goals out of the top 7 teams.
But I thought Ange Ball was going to be really loads of goals.
Yeah, but
we'll sign a better centre forward.
But it's still a development. It's a process.
It's a process.
Trust the process.
Right.
Burnley.
Burnley, yeah. We might win a football match. We're going to win a football match?
We're going to speak to somebody.
I'll not ask you first, are we going to win a football match?
Yes.
Yes.
Hooray! Let's see if he agrees. Let's talk to a Burnley fan. Delighted to be joined by Andy Jones, Burnley reporter for The Athletic. Andy, thanks so much for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. So we'll start with Burnley. 1 defeat in 8 before the defeat to Newcastle on Saturday. You said the nightmares of earlier in the season returned at the worst moment. Do you think that's now it for the Clarets?
It looks like it. They'll have to pull off a shock, basically, and beat Tottenham and hope that results go in their favour elsewhere to sort of bring it to the final game because they played Forest on the final day. So if they're within 2 points of Nottingham Forest, then they've got a chance. But that means winning at Tottenham. So, it would be a bit of a miracle if they do manage it now from this point, especially if they play like they did against Newcastle, which, Tottenham will have known themselves when they came to Turf Moor and was it 5-2 right at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And the way and obviously you were in a really good run of, start of the season really well, but the way you were able to, pull Burnley apart basically, expose spaces and sort of just dictate everything. That's pretty much what Newcastle did at the weekend. So Burnley will have to make sure that doesn't happen again. Otherwise, it could get messy.
There was only 1 defeat in 8 before losing to Newcastle at the weekend. Had anything changed or just got a little bit more solid overall?
Yeah, they've been building towards it. So at the start of the season, they just looked underprepared, lacked quality and the opponents were just better than them. As the season's gone on, you've seen the adaptations, the tactical tweaks to make themselves more tough to beat and then added sort of been able to, in the last 8, been able to add that sort of attacking element to it. They haven't cut all the mistakes out and, it's 1 defeat in 8, but it was only 2 wins, but it should have been more. Some of the games where they've just shot themselves in the foot, which has been a bit of a story of the season in itself, where they've made mistakes that have led to opposition goals, which could have been avoided. But, a bit of belief, a bit of momentum, which they haven't had all season because, they have been able to put 2 back-to-back, results together. It had been a win or a draw and then back to defeats again. So that momentum helped, that little bit of belief and players hitting form, some who, have built into the season and finally adapted to the Premier League and the level that's required. The fixture list did help in that it was, it did ease a little bit. They didn't really have many of the big guns to play. So that helped as well. But, they just got on a bit of a roll, which they'd been hoping to, but it looks like it's come a little bit too late. But, they've just changed, changed the setup to a bit more of a 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2 and just been a bit more structured and harder to beat, which has helped. And then have been able to add the attacking flair to it as well.
I wonder, I know you're not a Burnley fan, but you've got your ear to the ground. When at the beginning of the season, and we went to Burnley and so on. I was saying I've got more respect for teams like Luton, who know what they are, and their sole goal is to stay in the Premier League, and they're going to adapt the way they're going to play. How are Burnley fans feeling about the way that Company's set about this season and his principles and ideas and philosophies? Would they not have rather seen a revert to the likes of Sean Dyche and just pragmatism and pragmatic football and dig out results and pick up points here and there? Or are they still fully behind him saying, we're proud of the way we're playing, we like watching the football that we're playing, we believe in this? Where's that at?
I think it's taken up, different turns as the season's gone on a little bit. I think, having played the way they played in the Championship, which was so expansive, so exciting, so attacking, I think the hope was that they would, bring it into the Premier League and be able to surprise a few people. That obviously wasn't the case. And, there's a number of reasons for that. They had a transfer window where they spent money, but didn't really spend money on, known commodities or players who had experience of the Premier League. So that didn't help. But I think that the problem was Burnley fans had sort of got to the breaking point with the Sean Dyche football. They loved it when it was good, but I think when he left, everyone had sort of got to that point where it was like, right, now it's time to go in a different direction. I think that there's been a lot of question marks about Company throughout the season, whether that's been team selections, whether it's been set up. And the coaching staff have tweaked things and changed things and tried to make themselves more difficult to beat while retaining the core. Because companies maintained all the way through that, almost the worst thing you can do is try and drastically change things, because then players question it, and if it doesn't work, suddenly you've got a load of players going, well, you now don't believe in your vision. This other vision didn't work. So if we go back to your vision, you don't believe in it, type thing.
That's music to Gary's ears.
Yeah, no, you have just hammered home my point. Thank you.
On Ange.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So there has been ups and downs with the fans, but it was always going to be difficult. And I think Luton have an effective style in that they can be physical, they can mix it up a little bit, and Burnley have had to try and adapt on the go, whereas Luton came up knowing that that's what they were going to do. And, they're not quite like Burnley of old, but there's similarities to the way they've done it and how they've been able to be effective. But equally, you look at it and there's a good chance that Luton also go down. So
with respect to that, Luton I think what they've done this season is phenomenal. I think Burnley could have done a lot better. I mean, I'll be honest with that.
I agree with that. I get when you look at the spell, especially
the size of the club.
Burnley finished what? Yeah, Burnley finished what? 20 points above Luton. So Luton have made a massive leap and didn't spend anywhere near as much money. So I agree with you on that. But I think when Burnley's principles and the style,
that's my point,
can make it easier for teams to play against.
In the Premier League.
That's what they've gone from. They've gone from having 60% of the ball and being the dictators to having 40% of the ball and not being able to dictate, and that's a massive shift.
Can I ask one?
So I think that's been a problem.
Just to ask one more question on this. So a lot of Burnley fans, if I was a Burnley fan right now, I'd be saying, okay, fine. So we could have been more pragmatic. Maybe we'd have stayed up, and they're not down yet. I understand, but they're probably going to go down. But a Burnley fan might be sat there going, but at least we're going to smash it up in the Championship next season. Fine, all well and good. What if Company goes though? What's the direction? What's the direction of Burnley then? Is this how they're going to? Yeah. Are the board going to say we're going to get another manager to continue in this vein, or are we going to get David Moyes is available? Where does it go from here for Burnley?
Good question. Good question. I think I think there's a confidence the Company will stay. Now, obviously, if things don't go well, that could change, because you don't know what clubs are going to come along. And obviously last summer, Tottenham, Chelsea looked at him. It's obviously not going to be the case this season because of circumstances, but also Company's stock. It can't be as high as it was at the Championship because, while he's managed in the Premier League for a year now, what's he proven in a sense that, if the team goes back down, he's not, pulled up any trees, if you like. But Company's very much embedded himself in the club, and a lot of it, he's almost like the centre of it. So everything sort of goes to him. He wants to be involved in everything. He wants to know everything. So it would be a drastic change because, a lot of these players have signed because of Company. Would they have signed for Burnley if it was a different manager? Probably not. Company's a massive selling point for Burnley.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting. I think they would like to continue in the direction in terms of the style and the way they're trying to do things, and the investing in young players to try and improve them and then sell them on and make from a business sense that I think they would like to keep the principles as in that same vein, but equally there is that element of you need to get back up in the Premier League, into the Premier League, because the financial implications are damaging and troubling if you don't make that step back up. So it would be something they'd have to consider if Company was to go. Now, yeah, the way he talks at the moment, it sounds like very much like he's planning for next season and he's going to be there next season. But who's to say a big club doesn't come along and look at him and he might take that offer or that chance. So it's a little bit difficult to say, but I think the idea behind it is they're going to continue moving in the direction they're moving in terms of that style and what they want to do of developing young players and things like that.
So in that case, Company's right. It's building a club, it's building foundations and a DNA, and whatever happens, that's the way that the board is going to go. And so ultimately it'll be good for them.
And what about on Saturday then? Obviously, as you said, needing snookers a little bit. That's what Jonny said, actually, needing snookers in order to stay up. Obviously, the way that they play isn't going to change, but they will be obviously fresh in their minds what happened when we played Burnley earlier on in the season.
Yeah, and I mean, Burnley have generally been better away from home, just in terms of, I think there's been that bit more clarity in not being as open and expansive as they have been at home. They've picked up a couple of decent points on the road at some of the bigger teams. They've still not had that big, giant killing win, if you like. I know that both teams are in the Premier League, but that's what it felt like at times for Burnley this season. In sort of that golfing class that they're trying to bridge. So it's difficult to know exactly how Burnley are going to try and approach it. I think Tottenham seem to have a bit of a tendency to go behind in games at home. So they might want to try and start quickly and try and get ahead, because Burnley, when they've been ahead, have been good generally. The problem has been getting ahead. But it'll be interesting because the Newcastle game was really deflating. You could see by the players at the end that they kind of knew that that's probably it. So it's going to be really interesting to see the reaction. Company said that they're going to treat it as if it is the final game of the season, which probably is likely to be. So there's going to be that. You're probably going to see a really fast start, which the problem was they started really well against Newcastle and then conceded and it all fell apart after that. So from a Tottenham perspective, if you ride out that initial start, you're probably in a good place to go on and dominate the game. But Burnley will try and probably play on the counter as much as possible and try and get runners in behind and go from there.
Well, some good news and bad news for Burnley. We've only kept one clean sheet at home since October, and that came against Burnley in the FA Cup. And I remember that Muric had the best chance right at the end. So, you can get at Tottenham, and there's every chance Burnley will score. Before we let you go, Andy, just a prediction then for the game.
Right. I always hate doing these because you're like, well, do you have to go really positive because you're here talking about Burnley?
No.
I think Tottenham will win. I mean, Tottenham are due a win because of the run of form they're on at the minute. So I think Tottenham will win. I think it'll probably be, let's say 3-1. 3-1 to Tottenham.
I'll take that. Be nice to get a nil, but
he can come on again.
And really good to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
Cheers. All right, he liked your question, didn't he?
Yeah, but it's a valid question.
We should also just say he's not a Burnley fan.
Oh, yeah, good point. Not a Burnley fan. Burnley reporter for the Athletic.
But he knows
He's
them
far more
inside out.
professional than that.
And I think you speak a lot about Postecoglou and a plan B and changing it up. And I thought the point that he made was brilliant. And it's not his point, it's Company's point, actually, which is if you deviate from the plan, from the philosophy, from the ideology that you're trying to implement, then that raises questions and you undermine your own authority.
100%. Jamie Carragher said there are tweaks. and he was wondering whether.
Well, he said no. He also said that he will be making tweaks that we won't be
Don't
able to see.
Yeah.
Someone made a similar point on our Premier League channel when talking about Spurs constantly letting in set pieces and why don't they change it? And with 4 games to go, I think it was Michael Owen, can't remember, said, you don't rip it up with 4 games. Someone asked him, why don't they go away from zonal? You don't rip it up with 4 games to go because they will say, hang on, this is your philosophy.
Yeah.
Obviously, the whole Burnley and Ange thing is a bigger thing over the football in general, not just set pieces. Yeah, I'm not saying he rips it up. I've said all along, plan A.5, and maybe this was Company's plan A.5, and suddenly they've lost 1 in 9 or 1 in 8 before Newcastle.
I don't watch enough of Burnley to know what that means. But
I'll try not to either.
No, but 1 defeat in 8 means they.
Yeah, but I don't know have they done anything different?
He said they've slightly tweaked the formation.
They've tweaked the formation. They've shored up a little bit. They've been a bit more defensively resolute. And
So actually, it's
yeah.
almost not contradictory, but there have been tweaks.
There have been tweaks, but the philosophy. He said the philosophy, the ideas, the principles.
I
remain
absolutely
the same.
love the philosophy of Ange Postecoglou because I want to see my team score lots more goals than the opposition. I just think.
I just want to say, I was reading something from Celtic where they said in the second season he did start to leave a third man back and so on. I do think this is about implementing and imprinting the philosophy into the heads and the minds of the football or of the players, and then the tweaks will come. But we'll see. Listen,
We
if
will
it-
absolutely
Who do we
see.
want to see play? Who do we want the starting 11 to be?
that's a good question.
He'll probably
Because
go back
Romero,
to the 4-2-3-1.
Emerson Royale. I mean, like, who's going to play left back?
Is he really going to play Skip there?
It can't be worse than Royale. Just can't be.
Might as well play Dragusin there. Can't be worse than Royale.
No, Dragason's got absolutely no left foot, as we've seen.
No, neither does Emerson.
Exactly. I mean,
Neither
but
does Ollie Skip.
Ollie Skip's a technical footballer.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah,
technical-
I mean, I wondered when he came on whether actually you just go with it completely. You go full on technique over defensive capability in that position.
Any chance we could ever play like 3 at the back? 3 centre halves and 2 fullback. I don't know. I've not really. That's the first time it's come into my
It's not
head.
going to happen.
I think one of the threats that Burnley carry is that Dwight McNeil. No, he's at Everton,
Everton.
isn't he?
Who'd play
Oh,
at
good,
fullback
yeah.
anyway? Who'd be the left fullback if we played 3 at the back?
What, left centre back?
No, if we played 3 at the back with 2 wing backs. Sorry.
Oh yeah, he could, I don't know. That's a good
Anyone.
point. Son, like in the
Yeah,
cup
Son.
semi-final against Chelsea. He's done it before. Could do it again.
So that's one
Burnley don't have many threats. guys.
contentious issue.
No.
What about who's going to play? Who's the midfield going to be?
Whose turn is it this
Maddison
week?
coming? I think Maddison's coming back.
Thinking out loud. I would. Again, I'm prepared to be laughed at. I would play Porro right back, Romero, Van der Ven, and I'd put Sarr left back. Why not?
His energy would be.
Energy and is
Good on the ball.
good on the ball, better technical footballer. I'd go Bentancur and Basuma in midfield with Johnson, Maddison, and Son, and then Richarlison up front.
Do you want to give Lo Celso a go? It's his turn.
No, I don't think so because he's not going to be at the club next season. We're 4 games out. What's the point? I do like Lo Celso as a footballer, but what's the point now? I say he won't be at the club. Assuming we can get an offer that is acceptable, he won't be at the club next season. So, no point.
I mean, we all agree it's a shame, but that's what it feels like.
All right, predictions.
I'll go with 3-1 as well.
Got your mate Andy.
Andy, I can't say 4-1.
Why not?
Well, I just can't see it. That's why.
I'll go 4-0.
4-0.
I've had a pint, haven't I?
What about you, Johnny?
2-1 Burnley.
2-1 Burnley. Are you serious?
At half time, Spurs turn it round to win
Aye.
3-2.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that.
If we're 2-1 down at half time, I'm going to find you. I'm going to sit with you for the rest of the game. Although I do have to leave early. Right. One thing
Why?
function.
What function?
I do want to talk about Man
We'll
City.
hear about it next week.
I want to talk about Man City quickly because we're not previewing the City game because we play Tuesday. Not happening. Not recording a show next Tuesday. Do we all want to lose to Manchester City?
I wanted United to take a point off of Arsenal and so we could get a draw. But United obviously have their whole team out as they play Arsenal.
Yeah.
So United are going to lose heavily to Arsenal.
Yeah.
The reality of it is this. We do our job against Burnley and Sheffield United and we finish 5th. All right, that's it. We can't finish 4th now. So do our jobs against Sheffield United and Burnley, we finish 5th. So actually, a defeat to City is neither here nor there. It does us zero good at this point to take any
Let me
points
tell you,
off
if
of
we
City.
beat Man City, he deserves to be sacked.
But that's the point, as long as we do our jobs against Burnley, if we lose to Burnley, then I want us to beat City,
Yeah.
right? But depending on other results.
Yeah.
But assuming we beat Burnley, and looking ahead to Sheffield United, we should beat Sheffield United, right? Sorry, I know we should beat Sheffield United. Do our jobs, and it does us. There is zero good that can come from us beating City.
There is a scenario where we could be fifth come the end of the weekend. Newcastle would have to lose.
Sixth, do you mean?
No, we could finish fifth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if we win.
Oh, what, this weekend?
Yeah, Newcastle lose, Chelsea and Man United don't win.
Yeah.
Look, fifth should be done, right? It just should be. And as bad as the form is, we will beat. I'm convinced that we'll beat Burnley and Sheffield United. Yeah. So it's not that I want us to lose City. I never want us to lose a game, but there is no good that can come from us beating City.
No. Jake?
Well, unless we beat them 5-0.
It was what points? What's the point?
Be fun, wouldn't it?
Not really. If it hands the league to Arsenal, it'd be dreadful.
Because when they put that league table up after, I'm like, what's that done?
What's that done? Yeah,
we've killed ourselves.
Not having it. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. And I don't care what Arsenal fans say. They'd be saying the same if it was the other way.
Of course they would.
Of course they would.
Any club, it's tribal.
They forget they finished ahead of us. They've only finished ahead of us once in the last 8 years. And they said they were so happy about it last season.
Do you remember we went to Old Trafford on the last day of the season?
Yeah.
And United needed to win to guarantee the league from Arsenal.
Yeah, we watched that round yours.
Les Ferdinand scored the most, to this day, not a Les Ferdinand goal.
We were livid.
Little flick, wasn't it? It was amazing.
It was a beautiful lob.
We were screaming at him.
Went 1-0 up. And the instinct is, we all went, yeah, oh no! But your instinct is you love Tottenham, you want to celebrate the goal, but that's the only sort of the most similar scenario that I can remember. And Les Ferdinand scored that lob, and we went, thankfully Beckham went and ripped in one of his trademark free kicks, and all's well that ends okay. But no, there's no good that can come from us beating City.
Agreed.
Or even taking points off City.
Blue Moon. All right. We're back next week. Don't know when. Got to talk about that some point before Sheffield United.
Okay.
Then we'll do a review of the season. I've just said before, we're not recording full shows during the summer, or too many of them. We're going to have some look backs. We've had a look back at the 90s. We're going to do a couple more.
Might do an England live.
Talk of an England live game.
That's why James got the beer machine.
Yeah. Yeah. Gary can get in a cab for that one. All right, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. We're not Man United. And up the Spurs.